Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. Today we're looking at Agents of Atlas #1. If you look at my backlog of videos, I showcased an Agents of Atlas #1 before, but that was the second miniseries. So there's a couple of miniseries, and then I think there was a short-lived continuing series. So this is the actual first appearance of the Agents of Atlas. And who are the Agents of Atlas? Well, they're Atlas. For those of you who do not know, Marvel Comics at one point was called Atlas Comics in the 50s. Originally, Marvel Comics was called Timely Comics. Then, for whatever reason, it changed to Atlas Comics, and then it became Marvel Comics. So Atlas had a bunch of heroes that predated the Fantastic Four. We have M11, the human robot, Gorilla Man, Marvel Boy, and Venus. And then this is Jimmy Woo. And Jimmy Woo is an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. So let's open it up and we'll talk about this. So here we have Dragon Brawl, and here we have the first page. Let's look at the indie show. October 2006. I remember this period. I was really happy with comics around here. All right, and what do we have here? This is the Yellow Claw. I was really surprised when I opened up this comic and saw the Yellow Claw, because the Yellow Claw was pretty much made in the 50s, and you saw him a few times in the 60s. Maybe they faded him out in the 70s, because I can't recall any 80s and 90s appearances. So who's the Yellow Claw? He was basically the Yellow Peril. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the Yellow Peril, there was like a panic in like the 30s and 40s of like Asians taking over the world. Well, what do you want me to say? And that they became like stereotypical. I don't know. Do you want to call them racist? I don't know, but that's a term I try not to use any, because it basically doesn't. It means you don't like it, so therefore it's racist. But I don't know. Is it racist? I'll leave that to the philosophers to decide. But like guys like Fu Manchu, so like these I will say stereotypical, Asian stereotypes turned into villains. And so the Yellow Claw was really a Fu Manchu ripoff. And he ran like an organization. He was inscrutable. He was wealthy and intelligent. And if all these sound bad, then I don't know. But he was the bad guy. And he represented like the old world. He like even pre-communism China. So, he was just like, I don't know, like imperial, like restoring the imperial China. And he has like dragon symbols and everything, whatever. But he's Fu Manchu. So in this comic, we find it's set like 1959. And in 1959, they're putting the team back together. And what is this? This is President Eisenhower was kidnapped by the Yellow Claw, and they didn't want to alert the world at large. This is during the height of the communist scare, so we couldn't look weak, so they had to do this in secret. They didn't want to roll out the military and everything. So Agent Jimmy Woo was in charge of assembling a team. And these were actual Marvel comics, Marvel characters at the time. And I do think, although I cannot be 100% sure, there really was like a team up of them back then. I need to look up to that. But so this is Venus. She was a Marvel superhero comic, and it started out like superhero adventures, and then later on it became like a romance comic. This was Bob Grayson, Marvel Boy. I showcased an appearance of Marvel Boy, but he was a human colonist of the planet Uranus, not my anus, Uranus, and they retconned it later on that there were Eternals living there, and the humans kind of came and lived and almost became like the pet projects of these Eternals that live there. This is M111, the human robot. I don't know much about him. And there's also the human gorilla. And there's Namora. And the human gorilla was an explorer that went into deepest Africa in search of immortality. He found that there was like a gorilla with like a human intelligence, and he killed it, and then he was cursed to become the human gorilla, and he's immortal. So there you go. It's like the gift of the Magi. And this is Jan of the Jungle, another old, and she was the one that So they're bringing out all of these old 50s Marvel's characters that I think have some, they still have some stories to tell. I said this over and over again, that there are no bad characters. I give them my mouth. There are no bad characters, just bad writing. And this comic is proof of this, because this has taken forgotten, quote unquote, hokey characters and really giving them depth and character. But let's look at the credits. Okay, so there is no splash page, because the splash page has to be one panel. So there's 2 panels. But look at all this action. We got Bob Grayson over here just blowing crap up, and the human gorilla just, as a kid, I hated gorillas. I like Planet of the Apes fine, but I don't know. I just hated like all these stupid DC and early Marvel were all washed with gorillas, and I don't know. Now I kind of like them. So we got Jeff Parker, the writer. Leonard Kirk. Leonard Kirk, I think, is an unsung Marvel or comic book writer. Jeez, what's wrong with my mouth? Penciler. Chris Justice. I don't know much about him. Michelle Madsen. I don't know much. Art Monkeys. Dave Levitt. Letter. I don't know. I really don't know any of these except for Joe Quesada and Dan Buckley. Okay, so here we have setting up the credits. So what's going on? They're raiding this temple, and Venus is using her power. What is her power? She's sexy and alluring. She's the goddess of love, and she just speaks to them, and they just see this beautiful naked chick, and they kind of just get like horny and don't want to fight. Works for me, man. Look at her. And Jack Wu is I just remembered something. They put him in the Ant-Man movie, and in the Ant-Man movie he's a goof, okay? But Jack Wu is cool. He's cool. He's Asian James Bond. He's cool. All right. So this is the adventure set in the 50s. This is they talked about this. There's Siwan, here's the Yellow Claw, and this is what's his name? I can't remember his name, but he's Herb Voltsum. So he's the Nazi, is the Imperial Chinese, and there's the sexy, his niece. That's just like whatchamacallit, Fu Manchu. Fu Manchu's, I can't remember, but he had his niece hanging out. And he's just releasing all of this gas, this evil, they're succumbing to this, the Covenant. And Marvel Boy comes in, and with his light powers, he just gets rid of these shadows will kind of suck out their will to live. And during all that, we find out that he's escaping. They were just holograms, and he's like, "You betrayed me." So they capture the Nazi, and that's good enough for the FBI and SHIELD. And here's Eisenhower. He's being massaged and everything taken care of. So what's going on? That they kidnapped Eisenhower just to have hot masseuses take care of him, in any way of the term you want to use. Be my guest. They kind of suggest that. And he's like, "What's going on?" And then they fly away. Mission solved. Boom. Now we're going into the present time. This is Jack Wu. He's in his 60s. He's ready to retire. And he went rogue to do a mission. And who's this? This is Agent Kanata. He's a Wakandan. He's like a Wakandan special forces or maybe, I think, spy agency that is on loan to SHIELD. I don't know what this weird ad is. And he's talking about what happened. So Jack Wu called in his team for one last mission to raid an Atlas Stormhold. Why? Because he found out that this Atlas Corporation is like a front for the Yellow Claw. And the Yellow Claw is kind of like, instead of being a world conqueror, the Yellow Claw is opening up all these legit businesses, or so they seem, legit business all over the world. And he's raiding them. And what's going on? It went boobs up. So it fumbled. They open up, and here's some SHIELD agents. And what is this? This is Genghis Khan's scepter made from the horsehair of his horse. And things go bad. Now, they make a big deal about talking about these SHIELD agents that are killed in this bumbled mission. So that kind of, I'll talk about that at the end. Remind me to talk about that at the end. So now they're talking to Ken Hale, the Gorilla Man. He's there. So he's debriefing them. Like, what happened? Why did he do this? He's like, because Jimmy Woo was killed and a bunch of SHIELD agents were killed. Actually, I take that back. Jimmy Woo was the only one killed. That solves my problem. I forgot about that. So all these SHIELD, the mission went belly up, and Jimmy Woo was killed. So they're like, why did he do this? Why did he do this? And they don't understand. Here's some Marvel ads. This was pretty good, And there's Jimmy Woo right here. He's burned. The scepter of Genghis Khan is surrounded in like almost like dragon fire. So he's burned trying to grab it. He's all messed up. And they're like, do we pull the plug on him? He's never going to recover. And he's just like, let me say goodbye to my buddy, and he's just, I've known him for 60 years. And what's going on? The door breaks in, and here comes the human robot. And the human robot is just like, what's going on? Takes on a SHIELD headquarters, and he teams up with this. So he's betraying SHIELD, and they're like, what's going on? And look at that. I love what he says. Just lift me up and try not to crush my bones, and we're gonna go. So he's a gorilla. He's got machine guns and he's just taking out SHIELD agents. And what do? The SHIELD is trying to and this is Dum Dum Dugan. Dum Dum Dugan is one of the original SHIELD agents. He's one of Nick Fury's Howling Commandos. So he's been there since in real time, 1962? Yeah, like 1962. And what's going on? They find out, the attack of the robot, and the robot just uses its magnetic powers. It removes all the guns, and also this just teleport, like beams, it like disintegrates the inorganic floors without hurting anybody, and then tractor beams them away. And that's Marvel Boy. Flies them away in his ship, and he's like, what's going on? And then at this point, they're doing like a damage report, an assessment, and they're finding out nobody was killed. Nathan Hale, Gorilla Man, was using rubber bullets. So not one SHIELD agent, they're going to be bruised, but nobody was killed. Nobody was hurt. So there you go. And Agent Kanata's like, yeah, they took Jimmy Woo. And what happens? He is revived into another body. So they don't explain it till the next issue. But Bob Grayson, he used to be Marvel Boy. He goes by the name the Uranian now, and what he does is he like downloads everybody. He downloads everybody from a point. But the last time he saw Jimmy Woo was 1959. So he downloads his consciousness and then basically grows him like a clone body, but it's young. So this is his 1959 version. So Jimmy Woo, he just woke up. He doesn't know it's 2006. As far as he knows, it's 1959. So that's like, so why were you raiding this? Why were you raiding that particular headquarters? What did you think you would do? And he's like, I don't know, because that stuff hasn't been downloaded in his head. And that's the rest of the 6 issues, is what was Jimmy Woo doing? Why did he, start this? Why is this team so loyal to him? What's going on? And I found this to be an amazing comic for a bunch of reasons. I love the art. I love Leonard Kirk. So the art was really good. I also love that, like, taking these old characters and giving them depth. And I love the fact that they married superheroes and spies. They did such a good job. I thought this was a great comic. Now, I heard that they brought it back like a year or two ago. And I don't know. I haven't read it because I kind of gave up reading Marvel in 2015. But up until 2015, this was one of the comics that I absolutely loved. It had like a timeless feel. Like, he was a guy, and I love the fact that, like, a guy trying to recover his lost years, what was going on. Like, he's trying to outthink himself. Why is he doing this? Why did I do this as a 60-year-old man? And then why are they all so loyal? I don't know. I just really, really dug this. This would make an excellent movie, but you have to embrace how hokey they all are. Like, the human robot is hokey. And then when they finally explained why he's the human robot, oh man, it was really good. His pathos of like, he's a Pinocchio. I love that Pinocchio who wants to be a real boy. So he's trying so hard to be a human again, even though he knows he's going to live forever in a gorilla form. And then him, speaking about another guy, Bob Grayson, Marvel Boy, he was experimented on by the Eternals of Uranus, not my anus, Uranus, and then sent back to Earth to be a superhero. But the thing is, they take liberties with these characters, and you find out that was a penal colony, because Uranus is not a good place to live. Okay, just telling you that right now. So the Eternals needed to constantly work in order to stay there, keep them busy so that they don't do problems. So when these human colonists lived there, they would send out signals to Earth, and they downloaded like information to Bob Grayson's parents, and they built a ship and sent him to whatchamacallit, to come to not Uranus, Uranus, and then live there. And then they tinkered with them, sent back to Earth basically to do their bidding. And they explained why the crazy one who fought the Fantastic Four, they explained a lot of stuff that made it all work in a comic book setting. You know how, because he died fighting the Fantastic Four in the 70s, and how is he back? Well, they explained that. And then Venus, like I said, Venus was a Marvel character in the 50s, and then they give her a backstory and explain everything, and then tie couple of inconsistencies in her backstory together. Oh, I love that stuff. I love when they tie together continuity and it makes sense. You know, they took a little liberties, like bringing Marvel Boy back, even though he's supposed to be dead, but it worked. Such good stuff. Such good stuff. I highly recommend this series. This is the first limited series, 6 issues. I don't know what else to say other than I really, really enjoyed it. I just reread it this morning. This is a Sunday. This is a cold Sunday, cold, windy Sunday, and I just spent the day reading comics and drinking coffee. Best day ever. All right, so I'll see you guys tomorrow with another video. All right, bye-bye.